Hello guys, welcome back to another Android tutorial. Today we are going to learn about another important network library in Android called Retrofit. So before going to create an Android application based on Retrofit, you must have some theoretical concepts about Retrofit. So here I create a simple presentation that will give you the basic concepts of using Retrofit in Android. Retrofit is a type-safe REST client for Android and Java developed by Square. Retrofit uses OKHTTP library for HTTP request. Retrofit is developed on OKHTTP protocol. Retrofit is the best tool for performing network requests in Android applications. If you want to use Retrofit in Android, you need three things. First one is an instance of Retrofit. You can create an instance of Retrofit by Retrofit Builder class. You have to specify the base URL and converted factory at the time of the Retrofit instance creation. Here is a simple example. So here we create an instance of Retrofit by using the Builder class. You have to specify the base URL through the base URL method. You have to specify the converted factory through the add converted factory method. Here we use the JSON converted factory, and finally you have to call the build method. This will return an instance of Retrofit. The second thing, you need a model class. Retrofit need a POJO class for sending and receiving request. Retrofit uses the POJO class for patch the server response by using converters like JSON, Jackson, Moshi, etc. Here is an example. Here the class name is contact. Contact is a POJO class that contains two variables, name and email. Here is the getter methods for name and email, and here we use some annotations for these two variables. Here the annotation is serialized name. These annotations are used by the JSON for serialization and deserialization. And the third thing is, you need some interface for possible API calls. The interface contains methods that represents possible API calls. Each method needs a base URL endpoint annotation that represents the HTTP methods like get, post, etc. The return type of each of these methods is an instance of called class. Here is a simple example. Here the interface name is API interface that contains only one method called get contacts. The return type of each of these methods is an instance of called class. Here the target type is a list of objects. The objects are contact class objects. And here each method needs an annotation that represents the HTTP methods like get, post, etc. So here we use the HTTP method post, and in that annotation you have to specify endpoints of the base URL. So here we use an endpoint called readcontacts.php. So now we finish the components for Retrofit in Android. We specify the instance of Retrofit, we specify the model class, and finally we specify the interface that contains method for possible API call. Now we can learn about how to make a request through Retrofit. For sending a request, we have to obtain an instance of interface by make a call to create method on Retrofit instance. By using the interface instance, you can make the needed API call through the interface methods. Here is an example. So here we have an interface instance. By using the Retrofit instance, we call the create method. For the create method, you have to pass the interface class name. After getting the interface instance, you can call the needed method on that interface, and we save the return value on the call instance. Retrofit make the network request and wait for the response on a background thread and deliver the result on response or on failure methods on main UI thread. After getting the response inside the call object, Retrofit call the on response or on failure method. So here we make a method called enqueue. That method contains two callback, on response and on failure. If the response from server is success, Retrofit call the on response method, and if there is an error occur, Retrofit call the on failure method. I hope you get the basic concepts of Retrofit. If you still confused, don't worry, you will get the clear picture about Retrofit in the next episode. In the next episode, we are going to create a simple example of how to use Retrofit in Android. To get more video updates on Retrofit, please subscribe this channel now. Thank you for watching. See you in the next episode.